And joining us now from Des Moines, Iowa, is someone who's looking certainly to make his mark in tomorrow night's caucuses, the Republican presidential candidate and Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. Welcome, Senator. Thank you so much for waking up with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about your ground game. I've read some interesting comments from you. I know that right now you are in fifth place, 23 points behind Donald Trump, but you have about 1,000 precinct captains there for you trying to rally your ground game. Why are you confident at this hour?
Well, you know, if you come to our headquarters in Des Moines, you'll see over 100 young men and women making phone calls. They've made 1 million phone calls in Iowa. They've been out knocking on doors. 1,000 precinct chairs is pretty formidable. I don't know that any other campaign has announced that many precinct chairs. So we think we do have a great ground game. We also think that the youth vote is underrepresented in polling. Often, if you look at these polls, there's nobody under 30 even in the poll, period, because all the young people are on cell phones. I haven't met a college kid who's ever had a presidential poll. So we think we're going to do very well with the youth vote because of my opposition to the government collecting our phone records, because of my support for privacy, and because of my support for letting people be left alone.
It's an interesting point you make about the polls, considering your front runner is poll obsessed, and it appears that this campaign this season, more than any other, has been a poll-driven, poll-obsessed dialogue. So it sounds as if your confidence right now does not lie in the numbers that we are looking at that puts you at 5%.
Yeah, and another thing that the polls aren't picking up is they asked in the most recent Des Moines poll, they said, who did you vote for in 2012? And my dad's percentages aren't much ahead of mine, and yet he got 22%. So we think there's a lot of what we call the liberty vote that's not being counted yet in the polling either.
But even still, if these polls are faulty or not, when you look at the average, all of them show Donald Trump in the lead, the front runner, and he has been since the summer. I'm curious on your thoughts. Why Donald Trump is resonating. You may have heard the sound from this man this morning, our colleague interviewed, who said, you know, he really is about strength. I heard someone yesterday, a voter in Iowa, say he's a small business owner like Donald Trump is a small business owner. I'm not sure how he processed that, but it's almost as if there's a Jedi mind trick going on that these people believe they can relate to Donald Trump.
Well, you know, I'm a small business owner. I was a small town physician, but I never went bankrupt. And so I do have some differences with Donald Trump. I do think, though, that when you look at the differences between Trump and myself, Trump says he's smart and he's rich, give him power and he'll fix everything. I say that power corrupts, and that I don't want a great deal of power in the presidency, Republican or Democrat. I believe in limiting the power, having checks and balances, and I'm very suspicious of too much power in a central government. And so I'm kind of the opposite of Donald Trump in the sense that I'm not presumptuous enough to know that I have all the answers. I want to leave that power, much of that power, to the states and to the people respectively.
But you've also presented yourself as the opposite as well to Ted Cruz, the person who is second or even tied, depending on the polls, with Donald Trump. You attacked him heavily during the debate on amnesty and how he projects, I guess, his standing when you look at the other candidates. With that said, this is your 1 and 2. Two people, as you've said, you could not be further away from philosophy, policy-wise, but they are battling it out for the 1 and 2 spot. Why?
Well, you know, we'll see. I think we don't know until people vote. So I think we need to give more credence to actually what happens in the election. You know, in Kentucky just a couple of months ago, every poll said that the Democrat would win by 5 points and the Republican ended up winning by 9. They were off 14 points in the last week in a two-person race. I have a feeling we could be off 5 or 10 points with any of these candidates. Even the polls themselves are plus or minus 5 margin of error. So I think really we're going to find that there could be some surprises. Plus, it'll be much more exciting news if we don't know the election beforehand.
Well, that would be exciting news, certainly, considering, again, that we've been poll obsessed. But quickly here, I've got to ask you, Senator Cruz said if Donald Trump wins Iowa, he runs away with the whole thing. Do you believe that to be the case?
No, I think the election will go on for a while because I think there are a lot of us who are alarmed by having Donald Trump as the nominee. I've been one who says we have to have a bigger, better, bolder party, and that means a more diverse party. And I think Donald Trump will make us the sort of the lily white party, which is not going to win any elections, frankly. And I worry about him scaring people away based on sort of ethnic generalities, which I don't think are good for our party or good for the country.
Well, I know you've spoken a lot about Ferguson, the criminal justice system, things that you hope resonate, if not in Iowa, further down the road. Senator Paul, thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it.